Welcome to Sagittarius-Capricorn Cusp. For those of you that are Sagittarius-Capricorn Cusp, happy birthday if you're watching this, really close to that time. It's a very unique blend of two seemingly impossible forces uniting into one sign. I feel like this is probably the strangest combination in the zodiac when we look at the cusp signs. And we'll get into it, but it's, just to start off, you take Sagittarius first, obviously, fire. Um, it comes in and it expands everything. It makes things bigger, for better or for worse. It can create problems because it magnifies things almost accidentally. And you'll find a lot of Sagittarius people are very accident prone because they just kind of stumble into things with that fire instinct, and they don't even realize it, I think, until like things are really heating up. They're very luck prone, so things happen to them in a fortunate or unfortunate aspect. So you see both good and bad. Everything in this world kind of works both ways. There's two sides to it all. And I've been thinking lately, I've really been wanting to make a podcast just to get that emphasis out there, because I feel like with all the signs, not only is there the polarity where you take your sun sign, say you're Sagittarius, and you look at your opposite sign, which would be Gemini in the seventh house. So, you have that duality already, that push and pull of opposite energy invested in each sign as you grow and as you mature. But there's this duality, like, just like we're talking about Sagittarius, it's growth, but it's also like misfortune too. So, things happen to you guys um, where you might feel like you're getting the short stick. You feel like opportunity just kind of escapes you, or maybe you've been unfortunately struck with tragedy in your life, and there's like really odd circumstances always involving kind of Sagittarian life and nature, just because it's almost obvious to see that there are bigger forces at play in people that are heavily aspected with Sagittarius, or Jupiter in general in their charts. So you can find yourself very lucky, if you're a gambler, if you just like love to play games, like board games, card games. I usually find a lot of Sagittarius love that stuff, just because I think that they do know that there is that element of luck in that game, where maybe they'll tell you it's based on logic or strategy or something, but I think ultimately they know that there's more to it than that. There is almost this sense of unpredictability that kind of follows along with them, but they wear unpredictable stuff so well. Like, they don't really react to situations like maybe an Aries or a Leo would. They're much more calm and zen. They're kind of like the guru of the zodiac, if there could be one. And it's also a big link to Pisces, because Sagittarius and Pisces both have Jupiterian aspects. Like, they say Pisces kind of shares Jupiter with Sagittarius, but Jupiter is ultimately Sagittarius's planet and its ruler. So I think we would see a lot more misfortune associated with Pisces, being it's a water sign, so it already symbolizes instability and chaos and death and kind of the darker parts of life and in human nature. Whereas Sagittarius is more fire, so it's more childlike, it's playful, it's loud, it's in your face, it's creative, it's bold, and it's usually victorious. We see almost always, like, in the life cycle of the zodiac, Sagittarius is the point where you reach the goal, you reach the thing that you're working towards. You finally shoot the arrow. Like, if you're doing like a decathlon or something, and there's I think it's decathlons that have this, but maybe it's the wrong term for like a sporting event that has a series of different challenges or exercises, and then you get to the archery part where you have to shoot your bow and arrow, and then that's like the final thing. You know, you shoot it right on the bullseye, and that's kind of what Sagittarius is. It is I wouldn't say it's concentrated energy, but it's just this ability to win and to succeed. And um, a lot of times, I think it can be associated to their obvious optimism that they have. I mean, this sign, I think, even gives Leo a run for its money when it comes to enthusiasm. You know, I think honestly, like me being a Leo, I'm like competitive in that sense, but I think Sagittarius actually wins the gamut for like being the most optimistic, historically in the zodiac, of all the signs. And um, there's something to be said that people that are kind of um, struck with misfortune in their lives, that they maybe even grow further than most because they have to deal with that sometimes at an early age. I mean, you look at Sagittarius being a fire sign, usually that stuff happens when you're younger, when you're a kid. And probably you're forced to mature at a much quicker rate than most other people around you, or you've always felt like you've been pushed into like harder adult themes, at a rate that's maybe not always fair. And but you've found a way to grow through them, to expand, because that's what Jupiter does. Now, not to say that if you do have a problem and Sagittarius energy, Jupiter energy can grow that problem to where it's unavoidable. There's no doubt about it. It's in your face. And so, for those of you that are watching right now, we are at the end of Sagittarius season. So, if there are things that have come up in your life that have kind of grown exponentially, it's kind of the way that energy works, is that it just has to deal with stuff. It kind of like it gives you your challenge like full effect. And that's one of the hard things about fire nature, is that it grows. And it can be very, very dangerous when it does. Anger unchecked can be very destructive. Like I mean, I live in a city that's been had to face like fires before and earthquakes, but like the Great Chicago Fire, it can be very, very destructive energy if left unchecked. So that also goes without saying that there's an egoic nature to any fire signs, but in particular Sagittarius. There is a big kind of sense of accomplishment, of achievement, a larger than life sense. And so inherent in a human can look a little smug, can look a little um, just big ego. A lot of Sagittariuses are big, in whatever way that resonates with you. Um, I'm not going to go into more detail than that, but big, in a height sense, in a stomach sense, may struggle with weight problems, or eating in general because it's excess. It's like you keep hitting, you're at the high rollers table and you just keep hitting it. You keep hitting, you keep hitting. And so it's like you just keep ordering more drinks and more people come to join in and the excitement gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that's kind of like that nature, is like you're just riding this high. And often with Sagittarius energies, I feel like the ones that have maybe drugs the most readily available, the ones I've met over the years, they're just kind of like, it's just part of them. They just have that need to kind of go to a different realm, or to do something that's a little out of body, or to um, yeah, just experience things in a different way. Because I think there's a lot of insights that they think or they usually do find when they go that route. And yeah, so that's pretty much Sagittarius nature. That was probably more than I needed to say. Um, but that combined with the very stoic, very rigid, but very challenging nature of Capricorn is such an interesting combination because you think of Capricorn and it has this stereotype of just being the rigid instructor, the librarian that's, enforcing the rules, that's telling everyone to shh, like no talking, no da 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 da, no, 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 no. It's like where Sagittarius says, yes, 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 I'll take on anything. Capricorn's like, no, 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 no. I'm going to choose the one thing or the right thing that I know I'll do. So it's kind of like this level of discernment. Earth signs are good at finding what they need or finding what's most useful, resourceful, and just honing in on that instead of like this fire that's just kind of spreading. So we take a very calculating mind and you combine it with one that seeks to expand. And so it's like this sense of like a critic or something, but that reaches a really wide audience, or somebody that just has this very industrious skill of working or assembling a team, has like a big vision or big goal in the job market, because Capricorn represents career. So it represents work on a bigger scale. It's longevity. So you take Virgo, which is just work and daily life, but you take Capricorn, which rules, that whole schedule. It's the calendar, it's the planner, it's all of that. It's big picture, it's the clock. So Capricorn has a very big implication on, the human life and the zodiac in general. I mean, Saturn is represented by Chronos, which is time itself. So naturally, Capricorns have this distinction of everything is very important. Everything should be done in a mature, responsible way. Like the things that you do and you set out to do should be accomplished. You should never half ass it. You should never not accomplish what you set out to do. You should just do it. Like it's very, um, like not easy, but it's just very, um, like a state of mind. Like it's just like I'm gonna do this. It's like you write it on paper and then it happens. Like there's no alternates. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no runner up. There's nothing. It's like the person that set out to do it does it, and then that's it. Because Capricorn is the one similarity that these two entities really have is that it's like the sense of accomplishment. They both do, and where it's like the fire is more of doing it in a big way, like maybe an actor winning an Oscar, something more of a creative nature. It's somebody at the Olympics winning gold medal. It's a sports nature. Those are fire. But you take Capricorn, which is more of a business. You think of like a suit and tie kind of a thing. So it's more of like the heir to the company finally, graduates first in their class and, starts, a new conglomeration that ties into their family's business or something of that nature. It's more business oriented. It's more of like government passing a law. Like that would be very Capricorn and Sagittarius combined. It's growth and expansion through the government and through something that's highly regulated. And that's why it's such an interesting combo. Um, is that it's something that restricts or refines, maybe refines is a better word, combined with something that grows and uh, finds like a bigger picture or a bigger emphasis. That's why Sagittarius is so big into mythology and existentialism. Like professors put things in a bigger perspective than just like what is written on the textbook. It's more of like, well, how does this apply to life? They're asking those probing questions that make you think out of kind of like the way that we're programmed. It's just to like answer in like the most expected response. Sagittarius wants you to grow your mind and realize that there are many ways to respond. There are many different directions to go, and you shouldn't sell yourself short going down any of those paths. It's just like, just go a different way, create something, um, and come back all the more wiser. And so maybe Capricorn can help you with that energy by keeping you in bounds, on your excursions, where Sagittarius is more accident prone. Capricorn's like, I'm not going off the ledge, or, I'm going to make sure I have my parachute, or, I'm not going to do this daredevil thing without, signing this waiver or getting insurance, or, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, taking a trip, and, when you go to the car place and they ask you for all these liabilities and these insurances that you have to add on, and Capricorn's like, yes, 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 yes. That's the only time they're going to say yes, is when it comes to the rules, okay? When it comes to something that is going to help you in the event that something does go wrong, that's when Capricorn steps in and is like, yes, yes, we're going to plan just in case. I have this savings set aside that I'm not going to touch till a certain time. And Sagittarius is like, spend it, spend it. We're going to the casino. We're going on this retreat into the woods, and we need like the best camping equipment that we can find, and like all of this stuff. And so, Capricorns, so you feel like this push and pull, this bigger sense of like, what is my purpose, but also wanting to really be impacting in society, being in a big place of like, uh, citizenry, like participating in like community council, or is that what it's called? It's like, when you go to like your town hall meetings, and like it's one of those people on the board, like that's very Capricorn. It's being like a pillar of like, not service, but it's almost like a power, or someone that enforces regulations. And so you can find people in Sagittarius Capricorn, in at a very high level, those that are able to navigate both signs and not necessarily feel the push and pull of them so much. I mean, I'm a cusper, which is why I felt the need to make these videos, because I do feel like there's two people in me oftentimes. Excuse me. I'm the Leo Virgo, so I understand you guys to some degree because we have basic elements. We're both fire mixed with earth, which says that it's a very natural combination. It's a combination of instinct, but also of like regulation. So I feel like we have the capabilities to really grow a dynamic future and progress and projects, and but it's really just working past that struggle of feeling like you're two different people. Like when you want to stay focused on one project, where you're more of your Capricorn nature and you want to see it through the finish, but then your Sagittarius side steps in and is like, well, I see this other opportunity coming my way, and I'm like, ooh, I can't resist. And so, but then you end up missing out on the one that you've been working really hard towards. So I can't imagine how difficult that must be. But you guys like are obviously very smart. I think both of those signs are very smart. Sagittarius represents like the university and college and expansive knowledge. So it's not just like memorizing facts and stuff that you do more so in, you know, what is that called? Like primary school, or, when you're younger. But it's more of like thinking outside of the box. What's the bigger implication that this lesson is having on the world or on different cultures? And then Capricorn is the disciplinarian that's like making sure that you have your homework turned in on time, making sure that your project, like is done the right way, or um, you're just one of those people that just has to keep working and working and working. So you feel like that need to be a couch potato and to maybe just blaze up and to watch a existential movie. But then that Capricorn nature is like, you can't stop watching the clock though while you're watching the movie, and it's distracting you. And so you're like, I got work to do. So I can imagine like that's some of the things that maybe you guys could experience, and it's also heavily relates the future with the past. You know, when we think of Capricorn, I think of all the signs, maybe besides Cancer, because they work in tandem, they're polarities, they're opposite each other. But Capricorn really represents the past. Capricorn is kind of the foundation. Um, and it's like the bigger accomplishments that have happened in the past. So you look at a history book, and it's you don't know that Sally was feeling upset about a blizzard that happened in 34 that had no big world impact. You would only read that like the blizzard that happened destroyed 40% of the farms across, Montana. That's what you would know. You would know like the factual information on a big scale. You wouldn't know like how it affected like one singular person that kind of seemed insignificant. Um, so that's more so what Capricorn is. It's pinpointing like the real accomplishments. You look at war and you look at countries being established and government being established and laws being written, and all of these things that happen in human history. Capricorn is going to know them, going to be able to recall them. It's going to be able to tell you all the facts that happened about them, and that's one of the great things about that sign is like they read something or they learn something and they know every little thing about it because they don't get distracted. They don't, um, you know what I mean? Like there's not many voices going on there. There's one singular one that's focused, and it's that earth nature. And so that's great to some degree, but it's not to others. I mean, if you're somebody that likes to multitask or that likes to um, just kind of be more open to the subconscious things that are manifesting in your life, that would probably not be the sign that you would choose to be if you could be one. That would be more so the sign where you would like to grow your bank account, or you would like to become, a CEO of a corporation, or, something very prestigious, but on like a business sense, you know? Um, but then you look at Sagittarius, which is all about movement and it's shooting your arrow. Arrows can go very far, and it's really about getting to that point. So you see that in the essence of both of these signs, there's a challenge. You look at a video of a goat, like there's this awesome meme I saw, and it's like these goats like placed on this tree, and they're literally standing on these branches that look like they should not be holding them up, but they somehow are. And it's so like Capricorn just somehow nudges itself to the top and finds stability like when the odds are against them. Almost like you guys have that great tenacity that you're just going to accomplish what you set out to do. You're like, I'm going to climb this fucking tree today, even if it looks like I couldn't do it, no matter the situation. And so yeah, you're just kind of like not scared to some degree, or you just have this great ability to like not let your mind get in your way. I would say maybe the one struggle with Capricorn is usually family matters. Like they have a dark, well, I mean, dark is a word you can use, but there's something that affects them. I always find with the family. There's something, whether they were an orphan or whether they were impacted in some way when they were younger by their family, and it just kind of carries through. And I would say that was like one of your guys' Achilles heel. If you look past like the rigidity of you guys and how it can definitely rub a lot of other signs the wrong way. Not that you guys intend to, but it's just that Saturnian nature is just so stern, and it's just so It's just a force that just can't be pushed. It can't be altered. And so I think for signs that are more like air nature that kind of do this little way of manipulating, and it's very subtle, and it's very smart. You guys are just like, if it doesn't follow the rules, if it's not what I want, then you're wasting your time basically. So I think that's where a lot of the implications with your sign being immovable or just not fun to some degree comes into play, because you guys are always looking for a connection, a resource, like, hey, this person would be great for me down the line, so I should connect with them. Or you guys are great at networking. Like, you find yourself in groups, even though you wouldn't think Capricorn would, because they're so whatever, but they usually do. I think it almost helps them to look at people as um, necessary or useful to some degree. Not that you abuse people, but it's just that that's the way you approach life, is like, how is this going to benefit me? And so you think of that combined with Sagittarius, which expands. You guys know lots of people from different walks of life, and you're able to incorporate them in different ways over your lifetime, and they help you. Or there's a lot. That's what I would see with the combination there. You've learned um, to look at a lot of different perspectives and find how you relate to each one, I guess. But it's always going to benefit you. So that's kind of like my. uh, I don't even know if we need to pull cards, honestly. I feel like this is one I've been wanting to make for a while, because I find this combination so um, curious, not curious, but there's something interesting about it. And I think that's why I have so much to say. And I love these Cusp videos. I'm really glad I picked them back up. And I hope you guys will just keep following along, because we still have a few to make before we're through the whole cycle. And I'm releasing them as they happen throughout the year. So obviously the next one would be Capricorn Aquarius. Again, a very strange combination. Um, but that's what cusps are. You can't think of a cusp as being something to work through. It's think of it as being blessed with two signs. Two signs, yes, of different nature that seems oppositional, but it could actually really benefit you and help you see through different lenses, simultaneously. And you're more of a blend. If we're thinking about wine, you're not just some basic Cabernet. You're a red blend that maybe has some of the best varieties of wines in the mix. You know what I mean? It's like you're rosé, but you're sparkling. It's like that combination. And I think I'm really wanting a glass, honestly, is why I was like thinking about that. But yeah, it's just think of yourself as you being a little more unique than the average, Sagittarius or Capricorn, which is to say something for sure. So I hope this helps and resonates with you guys. As always, reach out to me, message me on here, follow me at stars on stars. It's on Instagram, and it's this great platform that I've been using to unite astrology and film. For those film lovers out there, we pick scenes from films and we relate them to the actors' star charts or their birth charts, and you see that there are overall lessons that are happening in the films that they decide to be a part of. And it's really cool to see how they translate from the actor to the film, vice versa. Um, I pull a tarot card, one card for every sign, usually about every Sunday or Monday. So that's always a story that's like up and running. And yeah, you can always book a reading with me. 2020 readings, they're happening. Right now, I have this great offer. They're only, you guessed it, 20 plus 20 for $40. So, that perfect vision, 2020 vision, get it? Sagittarius pun, sorry. Uh, $40 is a great amount for what we're going to do. We're going to explore 20 tarot cards that are going to kind of encapsulate what 2020 is going to be for you. And really go through the lessons and themes that you're going to come across throughout next year. And so it's even a great Christmas present. So I'm going to email you or I guess send you the link on YouTube and have it unlisted so only you can see it and you can watch it as many times throughout the year as you like. So it's just something that'll be a reminder or something that you can just manifest throughout the year and look back on as almost like a zodiac journal or something, but using tarot as the instrument is honestly like my favorite tool. And it's just really exciting. So DM me if you want to book that or you're thinking about gifting it for someone else. Yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. And I will see you in the Capricorn Aquarius video. And I'm sure it'll be like no time at all. Peace.